I have started my countdown for October 18th, 2024. The disclosure has already begun. Welcome back. We spoke about how not so great Arrow is and why it's not a smart idea to trust them. But does it mean there is nothing being done by the government to disclose information about UFOs? No. There are powerful people in the Senate and Congress who are working hard to get the truth out. And what if I told you it's going to happen this year? In today's episode, we are going to talk about how this disclosure is unfolding. Hey, I'm Hemant,
I'm Arvind.
and this is Not Just UFO.
Last year, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader and one of the most powerful politicians in US, worked with Mike Rounds, a Republican, on the UAP Disclosure Act. This was one of the rare bipartisan moments where people united over an outside entity, in this case, a non-human entity. Some of the items in this bill related to UAP were establishing a government-wide UAP records collection, mandating every office to provide all the records and data related to UAP to this establishment. Establishing a review board for public disclosure, this select committee, publicly appointed, would review UFO materials and make them available for public disclosure. And only Congress and the US President could override this. The government would also have eminent domain over non-human intelligence related materials and technologies, including any alien bodies which are possessed by private entities like defense contractors. Increased protection for UFO whistleblowers, ensuring they don't face any kind of retaliation. Medical care for military veterans affected by UFO related effects like Havana syndrome or other radiations. Promotion of scientific research and analysis of UAP data to better understand these phenomena were also included. Periodic reporting to Congress on the progress of the review board and the status of UAP disclosure were also added. This unprecedented move by the Senate to propose such an exhaustive bill on UFO disclosure was highly anticipated and could have been a great step towards transparency. It gave Congress a chance to bring forth the truth and gain the public's trust. But, as with every other things in the life, it didn't go as planned.
Even though the entire Senate passed the bill, there were oppositions in the House, particularly those with direct interests in the welfare of defense contractors opposed it. Specifically, Mike Rogers and Mike Turner opposed the UFO clauses in the bill. They have received significant donations from defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. Publicly, they showed zero interest in UFOs. Inside Congress, they strongly opposed the bill and wanted to stonewall it. The 64-page bill was cut down to 24 pages, stripping away many crucial powers from Congress for actual disclosure. Items like eminent domain and whistleblower protection were removed, and the review board for public disclosure was also cut. The removal of the eminent domain clause, specifically mentioning non human intelligent materials and technologies, itself is evidence of the existence of non human intelligence and our possession of their technologies. Why remove it if there is nothing to hide? This caused great frustration and anger. Chuck Schumer expressed his disappointment and feeling of powerlessness against the covert group responsible for this multi decade UFO cover up. When the most powerful US senator couldn't achieve what we all hoped, it seemed every hope of UFO disclosure from the government was lost.
Not all was lost in the effort towards disclosure. The stripped down version of this bill was still signed by the President last December. This mandates all relevant government agencies and private aerospace corporations to gather and digitize all UFO related information and turn it over to the National Archives and Congress by this October 18th. All 6 US military services and all 18 US intelligence agencies and all the 32 Defense Department agencies are required to gather every piece of UFO related information, including memos, communications, and even emails dating back to January 1st, 1945. The information disclosure will have profound geopolitical, economic, and philosophical implications. Discussions will need to address the type of relationship with extraterrestrial civilizations, the impact on global economics, particularly the petrodollar, due to the potential of alternate energy sources, and legal issues around proprietary technology. The great thing is, people in Congress are not giving up. Recently, the Intelligence Authorization Act for 2025 included provisions which were previously eliminated in the previous bill. Specifically, it mandates a government accountability office to review all of the Arrow data. Congress wants to clearly supervise Arrow since no one trusts Arrow, not even the government. They focus on ensuring oversight and sharing data from UAP investigations across government entities. Restrictions are placed on funding which goes into UAP related activities without any explicit descriptions, explanations, or justifications, without congressional oversight. No criminal or civil action may be taken against individuals complying with notifications and reporting provisions regarding UAP material. The Director of National Intelligence will also serve as the executive agent for promoting classification and declassification of such programs. In other words, everything stripped out last year is reappearing again. The most important thing to notice is the manner of wording in the act. It doesn't question if the US possesses UFOs or not. It states these informations as if it is already known fact. UAPs exist and all information must be disclosed to public and must be followed. They also clearly distinguish UAP tech of unknown origin from temporary non-attributed objects, avoiding confusions with drones or other adversary human tech. They are being extremely specific in their language. This legislation is what I would call alien disclosure legislations. Really, no other way to put it.
There are other legislations being added to the House as well. One specifically by Congressman Tim Burchett. His bill pushes for UFO transparency, adding on top of what's already being pushed. Apart from this, there are other Congress members advocating for additional security measures for whistleblowers, protecting them from retaliation. One must remember what happened to the recent two whistleblowers who spoke about Boeing. Both were dead. Private defense contractors will fight for the right to enjoy the ownership of reverse engineering technologies. Imagine if interstellar travel becomes a commonplace, but one still has to pay fees to these agencies because they own the patent. There are many legal complexities involved, as certain contractors were favored over others. Even though they invested in reverse engineering the technology, they did so with government help, receiving non human tech. These are publicly traded companies, and the fight to maintain profits for their shareholders and maintaining power will always exist.
But reality should not be classified. People have the moral obligation to know. Non human intelligence existence is ultimately not a government information, but it is people's right.
I have started my countdown for October 18th, 2024. Have you? You should. So, mark your calendars. The disclosure has already begun. Stay curious, my friends.